two close friends are accidentally transferred to another world. One is blessed to be a hero with the power to control curses and perfect swordsmanship with enhanced physical capabilities. The other friend, however, receives no blessings and he ultimately turns evil. In the present-day Japan, on the rooftop of a hospital building, an old man is swinging his walking stick towards the sky. The nurse who is there with him scolds him for it, but he insists to keep going as he is casting a spell to open a gate to another world. Elsewhere, a high school basketball game is going on and an athletic high schooler named Haru is playing in the game where his best friend named Yu came to support him. Haru excels at sports but he has no brains. However, Yu has a major disability and he is bound to a wheelchair, being unable to walk. But his intellect is far superior comparing to Haru. Yu lost the use of his legs when he was a child because he was in a horrible plane crash where he lost both of his parents, and he was the only survivor. Although he is an orphan, he does not pity himself. In fact, he is grateful because a kind lady who owns a flower shop took him in and raises him as her own. Returning home from school, the two are joined by their classmate named Katona. The three of them are close friends. However, Haru is in a relationship with Katona. Katona suggests them a place to hang out, but Yu decides not to join because he is tired of being a seven-wheel every time. Upon reaching his home, Yu gets really sad and he thinks about Katona because he had always loved her since the start. And he gets really frustrated at Haru because an idiot like him gets to date her. After some time, Yu gets a call on his phone from Katona asking him for help as she is being followed by someone. I guess Katona is a bit loose on the brain because, instead of calling the police, she calls a guy without legs. Yu quickly asks his sister Saki to give him a ride and they quickly goes to find Katona. On reaching the designated area told by Katona, Yu went ahead to find her and he tells his sister to contact the police and Haru as well. But sadly, by the time he gets there, Katona is being stabbed by a hooded figure. Yu attempts to save Katona by ramming him with his wheelchair, but he manages to escape. Haru arrives just moments later and he picks up Katona, who is in a very bad condition as the dagger is stuck deep in her abdomen. Haru blames Yu for being useless and not saving Katona, and they start arguing. And he grabs Katona trying to carry her to a hospital. So, Yu decides to follow him. Due to heavy traffic, Truck Kun makes his appearance and almost hit them. But suddenly, the world around them flashes and they find themselves in a completely different world, wearing different clothes and surrounded by fantasy-like creatures. They were totally surprised on what's going on, but soon realize that Katona is not with them. So, they decide to go search for her, and they soon discover that Yu can use his legs and walk, and this totally surprises them, but they were both happy. With that, the pair decides to go look for Katona and their first stop is a tavern. As they were gathering information to find clues about Katona, they see a poster depicting the princess of that country named Astrid. She looks exactly just like Katona, so they decide to go to the palace to meet her to confirm if she is Katona or not. As they reach the castle, they were immediately denied entry because they were just ordinary people. So, they decide to sneak in by hiding in a wagon that is being let through the gates. Meanwhile, inside of the palace, the king and his most trusted subjects discuss the condition of the princess. It turns out that she has a powerful curse placed onto her, and they are looking for ways to eliminate it. The curse is so powerful that even the kingdom's magic minister Naus is unable to remove the curse. Therefore, the minister has called for the experts that eliminates curses and they will be arriving shortly that day. Yu and Haru snuck in the castle successfully. They stay hidden in a cargo that is taken to the princess's chambers. On reaching there, both of them got out of the cargo and they notice that the princess does indeed look just like Katona. The experts began their ritual to remove the curse. But it goes wrong and they get killed in the process, but they were able to reveal that the curse is in fact some sort of dagger stuck into the princess at the same location where Katona was stabbed. Once the room clears of other people, Haru and Yu approach the princess. Haru tries to grab the dagger but he is immediately pushed out by the curse. But when Yu tries it, the dagger emits a powerful dark aura to fight against him. But he is able to pull it out and save the princess. The commotion immediately alerts the guards and both Haru and Yu are quickly subdued and brought before the king for questioning. Haru and Yu explains to the king that they came there to search for their friend and they were only trying to help the princess, not to harm her. But the king and his subjects did not believe them at all until the princess herself comes in, showing everyone that she is feeling better and the curse has been lifted thanks to Yu and Haru. The king is very happy on seeing his daughter and his subjects tells the king that they are heroes because they were able to lift the curse when no one could. Naus gets suspicious of them, so he went to check the hands of Yu, which surprises him because he sees that he has the ability to manipulate curses. After that, Yu and Haru try to confirm if the princess is Katona, but it turns out that she is not, and they are sent back to the city with rewards for saving the princess. Both Haru and Yu return back at the same tavern they visited before. Haru is convinced that this is all just a dream and he decides to take things easy, but Yu is not convinced at all. So, at night, he returns back to the palace while sneaking to check on the princess to confirm if she really isn't Katona. As he is spying on her, he gets caught by the princess, and they end up talking and becoming friends. Later, Astrid requests Yu to join her on a trip to a secret lake. This lake has the power to purify her from the remaining curse, and he agrees. They hop on a flying ship to go to the secret lake. While flying on the ship, Yu gets totally amazed by the beautiful and magical sight he sees. Upon reaching the lake, Astrid immediately begins the ritual and Yu gets totally mesmerized in seeing her beauty. After the ritual, Astrid decides to hang out with Yu and they talk about Katona, discussing the similarities and differences between Astrid and her. Back at the palace, Naus suggests to the king that Yu and Haru might be assassins from the Black Banner sent to kill him, but the king disagrees because they saved his daughter. In order to persuade him, Naus tells the king that they save his daughter because they want to be close with him. Because on doing so, they can gain information from him that can help them to easily infiltrate the castle and defeat their kingdom. Hearing this, the king gets really worried. So, the next day, the two heroes are invited to the arena for an exhibition match against the country's strongest gladiators, because the king wants to test their skill to determine if they are assassins or not. The gladiators fought against them with all their might and they were completely dominated. And Haru is almost killed by one of the gladiator. But Yu ends up saving him and it turns out the two are naturally talented when it comes with the blade. And they end up putting a fierce fight against all the gladiators, forcing the king to stop the match. They are called up to the king so they could be rewarded, but as they approach the king, his guards immediately point their weapons at them and they are accused of being assassins sent by the Black Banner, and their denial is completely rejected. Yu figures out a way to escape from the situation by going back to their world. He explains to Haru that the only way for them to do that is by being in a near-death situation, because he has figured out that it must be the trigger for them to shift into different world just like the last time. So, the two rush towards a burning fire and jump over the flames falling out of the arena and towards the ground below. That stunt sends them back to their world safely. Later, they see Katona, who is perfectly fine and has no clue about being stabbed the day before. Then, they hear from her about a traffic accident that occurred the day before, where 3 people died, and on looking it up about the news on his phone, Yu notices that those 3 dead people from the accidents resemble exactly like the ones who tried to dispel the curse from the princess in the other world but were destroyed by the curse instead. Yu immediately remembers the past. When he was a 5-year-old kid, he was admitted in the hospital because of his disability. In the hospital, he met the same old man from the beginning of the series. He talks to Yu about the other world, explaining to him that it is connected to our world and there are people that are chosen and blessed with the ability to be able to travel between the 2 worlds. The man also mentions a harsh rule, that there are people whose lives are linked between the 2 worlds, and those people whose lives are linked tend to have similar appearance and personality. And when one person from the other world is in danger, it will affect the other person from a different world as well. Yu deduces that this is the reason why Katona is fine now, because she is linked to Astrid, and since they saved Astrid by removing her curse, Katona was saved as well. Later, Yu tells all of the information he gained to Haru, but he doesn't believe any of it and he is convinced that they were both just dreaming. The next day, the teacher informs them that Katona will be absent for a while. They were really worried, so they went to check on her. She reveals that she has been diagnosed with a malignant tumor and she has only 3 months left to live. Katona is really sad to inform this news to them, but she made up her mind and she tells them to leave her on her own, because she doesn't want to see them sad, and she leaves them. Yu suggests to Haru that they should go back to the other world to make sure that Astrid is safe, because on doing so they will be able to save Katona as well. However, Haru comes to a different conclusion, believing that the only reason why Katona is meant to die is because they saved Astrid. So, he wants to go to the other world to kill the princess. The 2 friends argue, and as they are grabbing each other, the masked figure who attacked Katona earlier runs from behind them and grabs Haru, making sure to bring him to a different place as they are isekai to the other world. Haru finds himself in the Black Castle, which is the headquarters of the Black Banner. There he meets Galaroth, the leader of the Black Banner. He explains to him that the total number of lives are predetermined in this world, and if they break a rule in this world by saving a person who is meant to die, the person in their world shall pay the price instead. And this is the reason why Katona is in danger, because they saved Astrid, who was already marked for death. This strengthens Haru's belief to kill the princess. So, Galaroth puts him in charge of leading his troops to a battle and killing the princess in her palace, thereby saving Katona back in his world. Elsewhere, Yu is back at the palace where he is accused of being an assassin and subdued by the guards. He pleads with the king, explaining how Katona and Astrid have their lives linked, and since Katona is predicted to die soon, Astrid must be in danger as well. While he is pleading with the king, a report comes in informing them that the Black Banner army is attacking them and Haru is leading the troops. The king gets more suspicious of Yu, but he pleads him again, telling him that Haru is just confused and to believe his story. So, they gave him an option to serve as Astrid's personal guard and defend her by killing Haru. Given the situation, Yu decides to accept the request and they prepare for battle. While he is standing on the walls by himself, he is approached by Astrid and she offers her life to him, giving him a special dagger which can take her life without her protective magic activating against it. She states that if her death would save his beloved in the other world and make him no longer be at odds with Haru, then she would gladly die. However, he refuses to take her life and promises he will save both her and Katona, asking Astrid to believe in him. The battle begins, and the Dark Banner army quickly destroys the walls around the city, progressing with an alarming rate. Haru is in a Black Banner armor which enhances his strength, and he leads the army to destroy the castle. As the Black Banner army progresses rapidly inside the castle, Astrid insists her father to use Mornstar, a legendary sacred sword that can kill any number of enemies in an instant. But, unfortunately, the king reveals that Mornstar had disappeared already, since its powers were abused in the previous war by his father, and the one they have on display is a fake sword. Before long, the invading army makes its way to the palace gates, and this is where Haru and Yu clashes. Meanwhile, the Knight Commander Bertha, who resembles Yu's sister Saki in his world, was defeated earlier by Haru, and the soldiers of the Black Banner decides to capture her. As Haru and Yu are about to deliver fatal blows to each other, their ability to travel to the other world in face of imminent danger triggers, and they are both sent back in their own world. Yu sees a flashback to the time where he met Haru, saving him from a wild dog, and how they became best friends from that point on. Back in the present, Haru and Yu is in the hospital where Katona is being treated for her tumor. Yu insists Haru that he should stop his craziness, because his thinking about killing the princess to save Katona is wrong. But instead, they should go back to the other world to stop the fighting, because it is affecting the real world as well, and he knows something bad will happen soon and they need to stop it. But Haru does not listen to him at all. Yu decides not to give up and tries to explain again to Haru how linked lives work. To prove his point, he remembers that Bertha was captured by the enemy, so Saki should be in danger as well. And it turns out to be true, and as they arrive back to his house, the hooded person is trying to stab Saki. They distract the hooded individual and get in Saki's car, running away from the person as it transforms into a spider-like creature, and it chases them. On the car, they explain everything to Saki on what's going on, and she mentions how that weird creature was addressing her in the same manner as Yu calls her, and it totally creeped her out. Hearing this, Yu figures it out on what's going on. But then, the spider managed to catch their car, and while shaking it off, Saki accidentally drives off of the edge of the road and into a river, triggering another transportation to the other world for Yu and Haru. Both of them are back in the palace, and Yu rushes to where the king is. Yu accused Naus of being a traitor because he had figured it out earlier. They were all confused, so Yu explains to them that why did the perpetrator use a cursed dagger to try to kill Astrid, instead of just directly killing her. It is because they know about the power that Astrid possesses, and she cannot be killed easily because of her protective magic. And the only one who could have known was someone within the kingdom. Yu came to conclusion that it is the Minister of Magic Naus who is behind all this, because earlier while he was checking his power, he could smell a scent from him, and he has the same scent as the cursed dagger that he pulled out of the princess. Astrid confirms that magic does indeed have a unique scent, and if he is the one who placed the curse on her, he should have an identical curse wound on him that he inflicted upon her because of her protective spell called Aegis. In order to prove his innocence, she demands that he should show them his body. Then, Haru and Bertha came to support Yu as well. Seeing that they have discovered his plan, Naus laughs and reveals the curse-ridden body of his, and he switches to his battle armor, introducing himself as Galaroth, the leader of the Black Banner. He proclaims that he desires to take Astrid's life in order to steal her power to increase the strength of his magic. And on gaining that power, he will create a revolution and claim what is rightfully his. He reveals that he is apparently the older brother of the current king that they all thought had passed away. They did not believe him. So, he explains that he came back to life using alchemy and he forged his new body using the flesh and blood of the demons. Galaroth tells them about the cruelness of their father, whom they thought is a valiant hero. When he was a child, he was offered as a sacrifice to the enemy kingdom of Baladin under the false justification of protecting their kingdom. But under all that despair, he still manages to find happiness where he met his beloved wife and had a child. But their father attacked and destroyed Baladin, and he even killed his wife and his son, stealing all his happiness from him. This is the reason why he wants to take Astrid's power, so that he can become the absolute king, and no one will have to face a misery like him ever again. Galaroth takes control of Haru's armor and forces him to kill the princess, so that he will not have to face her Aegis spell, and Haru will die instead of him. Yu tries to stop him and they are forced to fight in a fierce battle. But Yu managed to break Haru free from the mind control using his curse manipulation skill. But he is not able to stop Galaroth from getting Astrid. In order to kill Astrid and to stop her from activating her Aegis spell, Galaroth blasts away the castle wall and makes the rubble fall down onto her. But Yu quickly manages to cover her with his body, protecting her from harm while getting impaled by a broken piece of debris. Yu gets fatally wounded, that he is not even able to move. This makes Haru and Astrid very angry, which motivates them to go fight for him against Galaroth. However, the two of them were of no challenge to Galaroth and he overpowers them with ease. Meanwhile, the old man with the walking cane arrives, walking up to Yu. The old man entrusts the walking cane to Yu, telling him that only a chosen hero is able to wield it. Yu takes the cane and it glows with magic power as the old man transports himself back to the other world. Galaroth decides to end Haru and Astrid, transforming himself into a large, powerful monster. He grabs Astrid and tries to kill Haru, but Yu uses the cane to stop his attack and he is about to die. But his determination to protect someone and never give up makes the cane to respond to his heroic action and transforms into the legendary sword, Mornstar. The sword heals all his fatal wound, and with its power, Yu is able to summon and tame the legendary bird. He uses the bird to chase Galaroth and he is able to cut down his arm and save Astrid from his grasp. Galaroth immediately heals his injuries almost instantly. The fierce fight between Yu and Galaroth begins, but Yu is overpowered by him. But he manages to sneakily pass the sword to Haru, who comes in and delivers a fatal blow to Galaroth while his guard is down, and he manages to kill him. Both Galaroth and the sword gets destroyed and a portal is opened that links back to the other world. The king and his subjects thanks Haru and Yu for everything they have done for them and tells them that they truly have the power to travel between worlds. However, Astrid explains that their thinking is wrong because Yu and Haru were able to travel between the two worlds is because of Galaroth's powers, and since he is dead, the portal will be their final chance to get back to their world. With a sad face, Astrid hugs Yu, telling him that she will never forget about him, and she confesses her love to him. But she tells him that he should go back, because there is a legend that the visitors from the other world will die if they stay too long in this world. Then, Haru and Yu enter the portal, but as they travel to the other side, Yu pushes Haru ahead and turns back, bidding farewell to his friend and returning to Astrid. Haru wakes up in a hospital bed, and in this world, it has been a month since the car fell into the river, and he was unconscious in the hospital the whole time. Meanwhile, Katona had a surgery and the tumor has been successfully removed. Hearing all this, he is happy, but Haru asks about Yu and he is surprised to learn that everyone else has forgotten about him. Returning to the place they first met, Haru comes to the realization that Yu has been a resident of the other world from the beginning, and he realized that their lives were linked, and this is the reason why they had similar personalities and they fell in love with the same person. Elsewhere in the other world, Yu became the crown prince and he has married Astrid.